There we go.
Good. Okay, what we're going to do this afternoon is work on the proper line through the corners. But before we do that, we need to review a couple things from yesterday. If you remember, your tires only have 100% traction available, and you have to manage that traction. If you're using 100% of your traction for cornering, you're not going to have anything left to accelerate or stop the car. What we're going to do is modify the line that we're going to take in the corner to give us a little bit of breathing room in case something goes wrong. In this corner, this is your typical 40-mile-an-hour corner. If you're going in a fast car, it's a 20-mile-an-hour car in the minivan. This is what you're going to find on your typical streets in your neighborhood, downtown. And this is a replica of turn 7 out here at Putnam Park. This is a 2-lane road, a lane in each direction. And what you're going to notice is that if you're on the inside lane, this radius is actually pretty tight. You're really going to have to slow down to make that corner. If you're going the other direction, the radius is larger. You can actually go faster in that lane than this one. The wider the radius of the corner, the faster you can go. Your car actually wants to go straight. This is true of whether you're in an Indy car or a drag race car. The straighter you can make your path, the higher the speeds you can carry and the safer that you're going to be. So what we are going to do is modify the line that we take to improve our safety. In this lane, you got to slow down quite a bit. In this lane, you can go a little bit quicker. And what we're going to do is take a line that's going to let us go quicker yet. It is called the racing line or the theoretical apex line. And watch what happens. We're going to turn in here and we're going to turn out here. And this is the apex of the middle of your corner. You're going to start down here. You're going to come down the front straight, go into the braking zone. You're going to start turning here. And what happens that you can take a huge radius if you use both lanes. This radius allows you to go very quickly. It gives you the greatest margin for error, and is actually the safest way to go. You can actually draw that real well. Put our apex back there to show you in the middle of the corner. Oops. And as you can see, that really gives us a chance take a nice gentle corner. If you're driving with other people in the car, the lower the cornering forces, the less they're going to get jostled around and the more comfortable they're going to be. Some of you may have younger brothers and sisters or children who are going to get car sick. If you can drop the cornering forces that they experience, you're less likely to have somebody throw up down the back of your neck. Don't ask me how I know that. What we're going to do is modify this line just a little bit for even greater safety. Instead of turning in here, we're actually going to brake a little bit longer, go a little bit further down the road, and turn in closer to the corner. On this line, you're going to drive in to here, and now watch what happens. This portion of the turn is actually slower than on the theoretical line. You're going to brake a little bit longer, you're going to be going a little slower, and this part of the corner is a little slower. But look at this radius down here. You can really accelerate through here because now you're not using 100% of the traction to turn the car. You've got some left over which you can use to accelerate it. Let's look at two identical cars for a minute. They both come down here. One guy brakes here and turns in, and he is on the black line going absolutely as hard as he can go. If he's using 100% of his traction to turn the car, how much does he have left over to accelerate it? 0, right? The guy on the red line actually continued to brake for just a little bit longer, maybe a couple of car lengths. Turned in, and he had to turn in, had to slow down a little bit more to make this radius, but look what happens through here. This is very gentle. He can actually start accelerating before he ever gets to the apex of the corner. And now if you have two identical cars, one guy starts accelerating here, and one guy starts accelerating here, guess what happens going into the next corner? The guy that went in a little slower and started accelerating earlier will be able to pass his buddy even though they're in identical powered cars. This is what makes racing so interesting, is that you can actually modify the way you drive and pass somebody in a car that's identical to yours, or maybe even a little quicker. Makes a big difference. Now, there's also one other line that you can take in a corner. This is one that you don't want to do very often. It is called an early apex, and it is the exact opposite of what we did just a minute ago. In this line, you're going to turn in even earlier than before. And on this line, you can actually take a really gentle radius. And remember how your brain likes this real low low cornering force line? You can carry a ton of speed through here, and it feels really good right at the point where you get to this point here. The problem is the road goes this way, and you're going this way, and you are going to leave the track at a very high rate of speed. This is the rookie mistake line that everybody takes because it feels really good right till you get to here. And if you notice, you got 4 tires on your car, you've got 3 in the grass and 1 on the pavement. The 1 on the pavement wins every time, and this will spin you off into the weeds at a very high rate of speed. We do not suggest that you take that. What we're going to do this afternoon is we're going to go out and we're going to practice these 3 with your instructor at low speeds, and you'll be able to see how much better this red line feels when you have control in this portion of the corner. When you get back, if you have any questions, we'll go from there. Thanks.